This year is going by so fast. Oh my God. So, what are we going to toast to today? Let's see. Let's toast to not telling men what to do. Can you guess why? We can't tell a husband how to protect his wife. That ain't none of our business. I'm just saying. So, let's toast to minding our woman business and letting men mind their men business. How about that? Ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, first, I need to touch up these brows. Natural sunlight is so good, but today in California, it's like an overcast. I don't want to pluck them, so I'm going to go ahead and just shave them really quickly. That way I can do a quick video. Now, let's see. Why do I say minding our woman business? Because I think that the same way, you know what I'm talking about, the Will and Jada thing, but for a different reason, right? Women can't tell men how to feel. We can give our input and we can give feedback. There's always an opportunity in that area because we balance each other, right? We're the yin to the yang. The things we don't think about, they think about, and vice versa. What I can't tell you is, you know, like after you've done something, I can't say, oh, I would have did this or I would have did that. Hindsight is always 20/20, of course, right? I could tell you perfectly how to do something after I F it up, or after I have time to think about it, or I'm not in a situation, or it's not me, so I don't know all of the backstory or how my emotions would run. I could tell you, and we can all have an opinion. That's never not true, but in having that opinion, I feel like it's fair to weigh certain things out. So like in this particular situation, it's a couple of things that I think should have been considered like right away, right? So, you know, first of all, the people saying, oh, he set black people back and we've been trying to get to those awards, blah, blah, blah. Who is we? Asia ain't going to no awards. Mind your broke business. Like, stay in your tax bracket. Like, some of the stuff, it just be reaching. And I feel like, really, because the majority of the celebrities, you know, the celebrities that's bought that life, don't exactly have that opinion. That's number one. Number two, why are we trying to fit their mold? As soon as somebody don't have like a valid point or whatever, I feel like we backslide a little bit and go towards the things that are just cliche statements and stuff like that, just to prove our point instead of having a conversation, right? So formulating an opinion is, you know, that's cool. You have conversations, and that's how we come about, you know, discussing different things. And fortunately, the way the brain works is once you have certain things in your mental Rolodex, in the event that a particular situation comes up, your brain will reach back and pick that up. And because you talked about it, you might actually handle it a little bit different considering your brain has gone through it, right? So I can tell you, like, of course, I would have preferred that he didn't do it, only because his record was so clean, you know? This is a man that don't even cuss in his songs, you know, make family-friendly stuff, no scandals per se, just different things like that. So that lets you know, we know what his character is and his typical behavior, right? So for him to come outside of that, I know that that's something that he looked back on and wished that he would have handled it different, a part of him. Because let's just be honest, there's some stuff we do and we be like, I meant exactly what I said. That's why when people talking about, oh, he got up there and he apologized, but he didn't apologize who he should have apologized to. If y'all don't stop, like, we from the hood, stop playing with me. We all know it's certain stuff that you do and you be ready to take that L, just like the punishment as a kid when you came home late or you was ditching school, it wasn't somewhere you're supposed to be, you was ready for that punishment if you got caught. Like, it was worth it to you. You didn't care. We've all experienced that in some degree. Maybe not that same exact thing, but in some capacity, right? So that don't make no sense to me. Then, like, the character of a person, right? So if somebody typically has not done something and then they do it, my first thought is to like wonder, like, what happened? Dang, are they okay? And two things can exist, right? Was he wrong for saying what he said? I personally think that he is, because even just thinking about it from HR perspective, since everybody want to, you know, be like, oh, that was an esteemed awards show and blah, blah, blah. If it was so esteemed, then that wasn't a very esteemed joke. That was a very, I'm doing stand-up comedy, they serving drinks type of joke, right? So how come, and we as our people, ooh, shit, we sure will do this, really reach to try to make something fit whatever our agenda is and end up contradicting ourselves? Because if it's so esteemed, would you make a joke about anything related to certain situations, like a black woman's hair? That probably is not a good thing to be making fun of. Yes, she has shaved her head before, so there could be confusion in that space. But here's where I think that we can even kind of take that off the table, because, you know, they want to talk about how Will should be more responsible because of who he is and X, Y, and Z. Well, don't you think that Chris Rock should have been more responsible too? In that, if you're going to make a joke like that, you check the social climate and things like that. And from my understanding, he kind of came for Jada before. At some point, you can't do certain stuff. If that's that man's wife, you cannot do that. I don't think it was the time or the place. From an HR perspective, if you make a joke like that at work, that's under the whole, oh, perfect. That's under a couple of different policies, right? So even if I was the one to hear it and I don't have any of those issues, I can take issue with it, right? It's just something that has to affect or impact me, and then I could file a complaint against you. So if we're talking about this esteemed show, I think that anything related to something that could be attached to health, you know, somebody's kids personally, LGBTQ, if I left any acronym out, it was not intentional. You saw I just went through the whole thing, you know, trying to be respectful. Anything related to death or loss, like those type of things, certain things are off limits just based on class. So if you're at that particular event, your joke should exercise class. You can be funny without targeting something that is important to women. I would have stayed away from anything with that. And if they are truly friends, the real word for friends, not associates, then I'm sure he knows that she has a disease. Now, whether or not she laughs at it sometimes or not, or, you know, some people were saying that, I guess she had posted that she's not going to let it overtake her, you know, she's going to tackle it, so on and so forth. But I personally know she also said it's something that she is dealing with. And that's just like, I'm fat, but I can say whatever I want about me. But if somebody else says something at a certain point in my life, it was offensive, point blank, period. What I say about me and trying to, you know, sometimes you do things to make light of the situation for yourself so that you can get through whatever it is. That doesn't give somebody else the right to do it. You know what I'm saying? Just like you could probably talk to your kids all types of crazy. But your kids could do that same thing, whatever they did to, make you mad or make you snap, or you just talk like that regular, because some of us, child, we done heard our parents say all type of stuff. They gonna drop kick us and whatnot. And we can say those things to our kids, but if somebody else say it, you like, now hold on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain things that's just respectful. And at a show like that, I just think that the joke should be a little more light. They should be a lot more professional. It's just point blank, period. That's what I think. So that's where I feel like Chris Rock was out of line. And I would even take it a step further on the professional side and say, don't you have to turn in what you'll say? So the show was probably aware that he was going to say that, or don't they put it in their contract, what they can and cannot say? If they don't, that's very irresponsible, especially if you're going to put somebody up there like him. You don't know what could come out of his mouth if we're going on the basis of, well, he's a comedian, so that means anything that he said should have just been okay. No, it's a time and a place for everything, and that's not the time to address or make your jokes about certain things. It's a family-friendly show. You never know who's watching, as far as a child that may be going through things, or somebody with cancer and lost their hair. Whatever it is, it's just certain things that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she looks nice with it. It doesn't matter if the movie was a good movie. None of that matters. Stop trying to tell people how they should feel, because whatever their issue with something is not what you think your issue would be, right? You don't know what it would be. You let that be you. We've seen less happen and somebody do more. Let's just face it. We got whole gang members out here upset about, or going back and forth about colors and territory. Your boss could tell you can't have a day off at work, and you would want to, in your head, you're probably beating them up. All kind of stuff. Cutting somebody off in traffic and road rage. Like, don't act like you above doing it. I'm still not saying it's right. What I'm saying is the way that people is going in on their high horse, if they could just come down for a little bit and join the rest of us on planet Earth, that would be so awesome. Because I can accept the conversation about it. What is getting on my nerves, and I had to literally just stop responding to people and leave the topic completely alone, is that people doing too much, acting like they walk on water and quoting the Bible and everything else. I ain't mad at that, but in the Bible it also says don't antagonize people and be careful with your words and stuff like that. Humiliating somebody is not okay. If that's the angle, again, that's not what I'm saying. I'm responding to some of the things that I have seen being said about this particular topic, and it just don't make sense. People is doing it according to their agenda and to prove their point, but there's another side to what they're saying, and they're only addressing it from one side instead of solely identifying or respecting how that could have come across to Jada, because she is the victim. Stop victimizing the victim. I don't care when she laughed, the timing of something. I don't care about none of that, because everybody has a different opinion on how the laughs even landed. Some say it was residual from the previous thing, and then once it was caught what was actually you said, our brains sometimes have a delayed response, then that's when it happened. All of that don't matter. We wouldn't have to be visiting this topic if the joke was appropriate for where they were. And if we want to talk about it from the, we've been fighting to get there place, I don't know who we is, because again, We ain't going to none of that stuff. Then you don't expect that those type of jokes will occur. They don't belong there. And we wouldn't be having this conversation if the jokes align with where they were. And why clown a black woman about her hair? Just like you probably wouldn't want to clown a Caucasian person about their butt. It's just certain things that are off limits as it relates to women. And I feel like at every turn is always a reason why women, holistically, and then specifically black women, it's a different set of rules for us. We just supposed to be able to take shit and it's supposed to be okay. It's no big deal. No, it is a big deal. And too many people are accustomed to insulting us and wrapping it up in a joke or putting an LOL behind it in an organizational communication, and then it's just all of a sudden okay. Like, no, it's not okay. And then as soon as we say something, it's always an issue. Like, let that man protect his wife. You know, whatever would have happened, he would have had to deal with the consequences now. But that, I just don't get it. And we are infamous for doing that, crucifying some daggone body. Like, nobody has asked yet, like, dang, is he okay? That's not his character in all of his career. That's not even close to like what his character is like. What could have happened, or what's the history behind that? Or did nobody ask no questions? You want to know why? We don't care. What we care about is we want to just jump on a bandwagon and post a 1,000,000-word speech like we ain't never did nothing that took us out of our character in a bad moment of judgment, or maybe he don't see nothing wrong with it. We have to, that's him and his wife, we have to respect whatever his take on that is, because at the end of the day, if it would have been handcuffs or anything like that, those would have been for him, not us. We could talk about how we would have handled it, or how we would have liked to think we would have handled it. And then the people blaming her, like as if she told him to go up there and do that. She didn't tell him to go do that. She didn't tell him to go do that at all. So how is she responsible for what he did? Oh, well, it looks like she laughed after. Probably did. You want to know why? Because I rock with him. If that's what he did, I'm not going to look at him like what he did was wrong. I'm not going against my man and he just did that in my honor. I personally am not. I know that there have been situations in my own marriage where I've had to call on my husband for a couple of things. And when I did, at the beginning, I was a mess, y'all. I'm like a little chihuahua sometimes. But I had to learn that because my husband is 6'7", generally, hell, all he got to do is stand up and people will listen. He doesn't have to do anything. And not that I wanted him to. I just wanted him to say something sometimes. And he wouldn't. He literally only has to stand up in a lot of cases, and people will listen, or walk out the house and let it be known, that he was there or whatever. And that would be enough. And I can remember a particular time, and this is me being honest because people don't be honest. I can remember a particular time being really upset because it was two men outside, and I think it was a parking spot or something, but they was blocking me and all kind of stuff. So I called him and he came outside. As soon as he came outside, they kind of looked and then just went in the house. Now, we have been out there for a minute going back and forth, but then as soon as he came out, they want to run like ghosts. Well, I didn't want him to fight them, of course. That was never it. But I wanted him to say something, and he didn't need to. When I tell you they ran in the house, child, they was gone. So his thing was, I don't need to say anything. They're already halfway gone. But I wanted him to say something because I'm thinking this isn't my first time that, you know, they've tried to bully me in my particular neighborhood. I already told you guys what type of neighborhood that I live in. So I wanted him to say something so that they knew, you know, that's my husband. And say something meaning just like, I wanted him to say, is there a problem? That's all I wanted him to say. But he didn't. And I acted a fool. I did. And I had to double back and apologize. Because he is the man. He knew what he was talking about. And I was getting involved in man business. Once I caught him outside and he handled it, the point was to make his presence known and to make sure I was safe, right? So if he did that, he did his job. That was a learning for me. And what did I say I did? Apologize. But that's where I feel like women don't belong in certain situations. Women don't belong in certain situations, and how they handle it is how they handle it. If they are going to fight or something like that and you can help avoid it, then you can. But there are certain instances with my ex where I literally got all the way out the way. Like this, I can't do nothing but yell from here. Either way, in the midst of a situation, things get handled in different ways. The woman is not responsible for that unless she is telling him to do a certain thing, right? If she is the one egging it on, then she's absolutely responsible if something happens. And women, don't do that. Be careful, especially with our black men. Yes, there are a lot of instances, unfortunately, where we are disrespected. And it doesn't stop until they see our husband or our boyfriend or our brother, you know? But we have to make sure that our first instinct is to protect them as well. If they can handle it simply by standing up, if they can handle it with the conversation that is, you know, man to man, they don't have to bark like little chihuahuas like we do, you know? I think that should be respected, and that is still protecting you. They're doing it in their man way. We can't tell a man how to be a man. It's not our damn place. It's not. And I understand, I get it. There's some of us, you know, you didn't get married until in your 30s, you know, or whatever the case may be, or you've never had anybody to protect you, so all you know is what it looks like on TV or what you would want it to look like. I get it, but take a little bit more time to think of it from the perspective of, I'm trying to make sure that the person I love stays out of trouble, and I'm trying to make sure that the person that I love stays out of trouble, number one, and that you respect them, because there was also time, I'm like a mama bear. I'm very protective, and especially of my nieces and nephews, moms, sisters, and hubby. If you even blink at him, ready to go. Sorry. See, this is me being honest. People acting like they don't know what's going on. Yeah, okay. I had to stop with that as well. As you grow up, as you mature, as you seek to do better, because age don't have nothing to do with it. As you seek to mature and make better decisions or handle things in a different way or realize your power or whatever it is that you want to call it, mine more so is probably realizing my power, because in my particular field, earlier on in my career, very male dominated, very male dominated, and very disrespectful. So things that people normally wouldn't trip off of, I did, because the language is different. But I had to learn to let go and move out of the way and appreciate getting to be the wife, and even as a girlfriend, the wife or the girlfriend or whatever, and be protected, and it looked different, right? But in no way in that particular situation can we blame Jada. She didn't do anything. She literally didn't, and everybody saw that. She didn't do anything. And I'm pretty sure, this is my opinion, because we all have them. Some people's weak, you know. I don't think it was anything residual from that August guy. I don't think it was anything about that, because if you think about that, when everything came out, it was, you know, people wanted interviews with him and all of this stuff, and he entertained some things for a while, and then all of a sudden you just didn't hear anything, right? I'm pretty sure that was Will taking care of that. Let's not just be crazy. You know that he has something to do with that. That shutting up. But one has nothing to do with the other. It really doesn't. I don't know why people want to couple things together. Like, oh, if you didn't do this for that, then why can you do it for that? Stay out of married people's business. It's none of your business. And you don't know what happened. That was behind closed doors. This happened in public, so you saw it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have known about that either. Unless they chose to put it on Red Table Talk or put it out themselves on their social media or whatever. But one literally has nothing to do with the other. Again, that's that reaching to prove your point or to further make that man look bad, instead of actually acknowledging he ain't never did nothing like that before. He literally has a squeaky clean reputation, you know, not to include any type of things like that. And the first thing that happened is he was crucified. Like, he just, the devil. And I even saw on YouTube, it was this, what was it on? It was Jim Carrey saying how he felt about it, and even went into the next day he would have sued for $200 million and blah blah blah. I'm sure you would have. That's how some of y'all are. It wasn't that serious. Like, I mean, as far as being like suing. Yeah, that was interesting to me. But the way that they formulated that, I think it was E! News. I don't remember, but it's on YouTube. You can look it up. They put all of these other race people. This is important. This is the reason why I'm saying it. And then at the end, they put Tiffany Haddish and how she felt, her perspective on it or whatever. But she was the only one. Now you just sat here and did all of these other people saying what they would have did. I like that one of the women said that was his wife. That must mean she's spicy, huh? She's spicy. She'd probably be the one telling her husband, beat him up. He'd probably be cutting up. But I like that she said that, because two things can exist, right? So we can say things like, oh, I wish you would have handled it differently. And then you could be like, you know, I don't really know what I would have did in that situation. Like, dang, that is his wife. But to act like you don't get any of it, that's the part I don't get. I really don't. And then the people saying violence is never okay. What are we doing for Memorial Day? I thought violence was never okay. I'm just trying to figure out, because you know, my people in particular be reaching. So I'm just trying to figure it out. Which one is it? So we thank people for violence and then tell them, then at the next breath say, violence is never acceptable. Very interesting. If somebody trying to kidnap your kids, you're not going to say, you know what? My whole point to that is, are the situations the same? No, they are not. My point to that is how far you go when you're trying to prove your point, when in those type of situations, unless you have been in that situation and did something differently, you can't say, I would have. You can't, because if you haven't been in it, you don't know what you would have done. So why can't we just give our feedback without acting like we baby Jesus and we just don't understand how this happened at all? It just makes no sense. People snap. People could snap too. Nobody's worried about that man's mental health or nothing. I am, because that's the first thing I thought after I realized that it wasn't fake. Because I really thought, sorry about that, I really thought that it was fake. And I was like, that ain't real, because it was him, right? And then the way it looked like, I can't remember, like when the Batman, is it the Batman that in the meme is slapping somebody every time a particular thing goes too long? It's like the person will be saying it, and in the middle of the sentence, the Batman or whatever will be popping up. It literally looked like that. It looked like a comic book. It didn't really look real. It didn't. But once I figured out that it was real, because he went back to his seat and said what he said, I was like, wait a minute. Like, what happened? Is he okay? Like, oh wow, that was, I just don't see that from him. So what the heck happened? I would like it. It ain't gonna happen, but I would like it if more people would start responding the way that they would want somebody to respond to them. Now, yes, we get in, you know, we get passionate about some things. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But it's the throwing of the book for me. I'm like, woo. Every time I see something like that, I be like, let me log off, because I see I'm getting passionate too. And I'm starting to see people's true colors, because I was putting together HR classes and everything, like, you know, that diversity and inclusion, you know, when you take that every 2 years, boss talking about you a manager, and you don't know these basic things, that those are things you should not be doing in certain environments. You don't see nothing wrong with it. Your poor employees. I had to let go of it. Stop posting. I didn't post. No, I did post. I posted once. Just leave it alone altogether, because it was the holy rollers for me. It was the people that I know would throw a punch right now if they needed to. It's the people I knew have thrown punches for their relationship. That's why I was like, how do you just not be able to say I can relate at least? Like, just smooth going in. But that's just social media. Whatever the trend is for that particular thing, everybody will start saying that same thing. Almost identical verbiage. And I'm like, okay, here we go. You just don't have no opinion of your own at all, huh? That's his life. And that's the social media these days. But yeah, that is my opinion on that particular topic and how I feel. And I felt like it was a great time to bring up to my ladies how you respond in certain situations as well. I feel like that deserves a conversation, and it's a good time to bring up how we react, you know, and that we need to be mindful of minding our woman business. And if we are not helping, stay your tail out of it, or stay your ass out of it, whichever one you want to say. But allow a man to handle it the way that he needs to handle it, with the exception of, if you can head off violence, obviously that's always going to be approved because it leads to other things. And sometimes men get hot-headed and they can't hear, or people, but men, once they angry about feeling like, well, the men I know, feeling like they've been disrespected, or somebody that they love, they woman or they kids, it's like they can't hear no more. They can't hear no more at all. If they push you out the way and tell you to get in the car, girl, get in the car. Get in the car. Talk to him from the car. Babe, please don't do that. Can we go home? I promise I'll do something extra. But yes, try to get them away from it. Otherwise, stay out of it. Mind our business. And if you get in a particular situation when you need them, kind of like my situation that I shared, that was in my beginning stages of my marriage, not the other relationship. Child, I didn't say nothing. But be mindful of the things that you do. Be mindful of when we call our men to come take care of things. Be careful of how we present it to them. Don't exaggerate, because the fact that we calling them is enough. They already ready to go. You don't need to put extras on it. In fact, I would actually ask you to, or suggest that you go down a level from what you really feel like it is, to try to, ensure that the environment that you're about to place this man in is one where he won't get in trouble, but he can still defend your honor. My eyelashes or something else. I will share the other incident that happened literally almost right behind that one. We went to my mom's house for something, and my mom has a parking space. This particular car, I guess, had been maintained. My mom wasn't there, and I parked in a spot, and they had blocked me in. And when they blocked me in, I waited for, obviously I had to wait for them to come out or whatever. And then instead of just moving so I could get out, and then moving in the spot if he wanted to or whatever, he proceeded to try to cuss me out. Now this particular man he looked like a bodybuilder, like he lifted weights or something, and just point blank period, he's a man. You in my parking spot, I have to wait for you, blah blah blah. No, actually this is my mom's parking spot, but you're more than welcome to use it, when I'm not in it. But please be mindful of that too, because these are the days I come over here. Now me, extending the olive branch, even being nice, these are the days I come. Just don't be here in those days, in my way. And I really don't care if you, use the space. My mom she don't drive, so I'm not tripping. This fool still arguing with me, walking up on me. So I'm sitting in the car. On my other car, the windows is tinted, so I'm sitting in the car. By now, the sun done went down, because when I tell y'all this man was going, he was going. I don't know what didn't come in his Wheaties, but he wasn't feeling life that day. So he starts walking up on the car, so I get out. You're not gonna walk up on me. I get out, and I'm like, look, my mom been living here for X amount of years. I already told you. You can park here if you want to. I'm not mad at you for blocking me in and wasting my time. So how are you mad at me for, how are you mad at me and this is not your spot? I've been using it for X amount of time. I don't care if you've been using it forever. You mean thank you? You're welcome. This is not your spot. This is my mother's spot. he had a dog in the back. He took the dog out the car. Now, mind you, my husband was sitting right next to me. When he took the dog out the car, that's when Mark got out. When Mark got out, I didn't say anything after that. I learned. I apply knowledge really quickly. I do. See, people make mistakes. But it's if you correct them, right? Yep, I didn't say another word. Oh, then when Mark got out the car, of course it was a whole different tone. It was, oh, well, you know, I was just saying. Now, mind you, we didn't argue for at least 10 minutes. This is after we done got our work, went over there to do something. We trying to get back home. That's how peaceful Mark is sometimes. He just let it happen. He let me defend myself because he knows I'm a little bit of a chihuahua and I can handle myself. And no need to escalate it, right? No need to escalate it if you don't have to. But once he noticed that the man wasn't moving, and again he got his dog out the car, then the man, you know, got back in the car, moved out the way, and it wasn't no problem. Because that man got his dog out the car, I didn't, you know, oh, you need to do this or oh, you need to do that. No, I literally shut up and let the men handle it at that point. Just that simple. Just that simple. But those are things that you learn, especially if you weren't raised in the house with a dad. Like, I was raised with cousins, male cousins that protected me, but they did things a little bit different. Okay? They did things a little bit different. So, you know, that was a whole different space. But in this particular situation, like, I was really proud of myself and for being able to be calm. One of the good things about that and why that felt good to me is that I could remember thinking, this actually feels nice not to have to protect myself on a 10, if that makes sense. Like, women is so accustomed to having to protect ourselves or calling our girls when something happens, because let's just face it, it's not always a situation where you know, a man comes to your rescue like that. Or like I also said, there are some situations where you don't even call them because you don't want something to happen. But having somebody right there to have my back, that was pretty cool. And handling it where you just let the man be the man, that was also pretty cool. So that was my first experience like that, where I let go and it worked out to where I felt good, didn't have an attitude or nothing, like walked away being able to just go home and enjoy the rest of our night, you know. No attitude, no needing to worry about the next time I go back to my mom's house, you know, how is that gonna work and that type of thing. It felt good. It really did. But more situations need to happen where your males in your life protect you, specifically in African American relationships, because it's become so normal to disrespect us that the people that are saying something, I'm almost wondering, like, and they're married, so I'm like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he said something and I was really tripping off of him saying something anyway, because I'm like, didn't he have a career where he was violent as hell on the court, always getting in trouble? Sure enough, Googled it and it was right there. I'm like, you just did this whole little spiel about setting people back and blah, blah, blah. So what exactly did you do? I would have respected him more if he did kind of like what I just did, you know, said, okay, I can understand both sides, you know, I would have preferred that he did this, but that's his wife, that ain't my business, that's their business, you know what I'm saying? I just don't get it. And he had this whole spiel, and you know, people that, oh my God, what he said is just so profound, and I'm like, oh, now he profound at 75. Like, you don't get to come out of a situation and then now all of a sudden everything is just so wrong with everybody else. If nothing else, I feel like what he had to offer to that situation is being able to talk about being at work and what their work looks like, and getting upset and how he responded, and instead he did a real punk move. To me, he did a punk move. He used that opportunity to make himself look better. So to me, all he was doing was being a house. You know what? At that point, because I prefer that he actually not say anything than to say what he said, because it just wasn't right, especially considering his own personal experience, especially considering, you know, the violence in his family, specifically with his son. So I don't know. I just think people should be more forthcoming or be quiet. Like, when we talk, we have a certain responsibility not to judge particular things. If it don't impact you and what they do literally isn't doing anything to you, yeah, you for real should not say anything. He would have been better off not saying nothing to me, because I was really trying to figure out who he was talking about, especially knowing that back in the day he didn't have such a clean behavior record. And it wasn't just once. It literally was who he was. I'm not getting the color. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. Oh, that's better. I just needed to add a pop of color. Like more color. Something to pop out. Yes. So, let me put on some lipstick. Or what do y'all think? You can actually tell me what you think. If you see this video today, or if you see it 10 years from now. Let me know what you think. Okay, so let me do, I don't want to actually do a lipstick. Let me just do a gloss real quick and call it a day. Okay, but to wrap that up, yeah, the people blaming Jada, I really don't understand that. She's so bad for him, he gonna go down. That's his wife. Women forgive men 18,000 million times through baby storms, bankruptcy, getting their hands put on them. Never okay. Now that's what's never okay. Never such a big word. That's, I don't know. That one I'm gonna leave alone. But I'm saying, forgive them through all of those different type of things. And you know, they acting like they so judgmental on her for him, you know, forgiving and moving forward and trying to correlate the two. Stay out of married people's business. And it's mostly married people saying those type of things, and I just don't get it. Like, I don't want nobody in my business. It's far too many people in my damn business as it is. However, I did not put them in our business, but that's a whole different topic. Either way, even if you know something about a marriage, I feel like as adults, we all know better. Do people end up talking? Of course they do. Most people do. I know some people that literally don't. I particularly, if it's certain things, I don't. even whatever topic it is, or married or not, or whatever. But learn how to mind your tongue and learn your place on when you should say different things. And it's just really interesting to me, the perspective of married people and being so opinionated and really drilling down. Again, there's a difference between an opinion and then like literally crucifying or going in, or I would never, or blah blah blah. And I'm looking like, you would never in that area, but in that area you didn't just ever, you still, okay? Still, S-T-I-L-L, you still in, okay? It happens. That's what I just don't get. I really don't get it, how this escalated to going back into all of those things. And as a celebrity, I don't see how they do it. It's just too much. Some of the things that, you know, have not been okay in my marriage, it literally makes my stomach hurt that people have the opinions that they have, because I didn't ask for your opinion. So I don't feel like you have the right to give me your opinion. If I wanted to talk to you about it, I would have. It's just certain boundaries, and it allows me to see how the disrespect is really in marriages and how bad it is, and that it's just like normal. It's just like normal. There is still a social media etiquette. There's especially a social media etiquette with particular people, right? So Melanin Madam is about being able to be who you are, me growing into me, and kind of just coming along with me on my personal journey and going back and addressing some things that I wish would have been different. And different meaning developing different, or experiencing different, or I would have done it different, just things like that, that society tells you not to do, or your religion tells you not to do, when really it never said that in the Bible, or, you know, that was somebody's opinion. You really could have done it your way. In thinking about things like that, it's like we really don't have a chance, because there is still an etiquette. If you have a particular platform, you are still responsible. It's just like when you're at work, right? I'll end it with this. It's just like when you're at work and your boss emails you. Is it ever a time when you don't respond to your boss? Because it's like they're standing in your face talking to you. Social media is the same way. When you have a particular platform, you not only have to be mindful of what you say, you also have to be mindful of the audience, if you will. Ensuring that if you are going to say something, you kind of try to give the whole perspective, in that you include a disclosure. You may feel really strongly about one thing, but given the disclosure that this is just how I feel, based on the information that I have, or I'm not even going to touch that topic because of this. But the fact that they've literally dragged in all of these other things, I'm just really amazed, because if somebody did that to you in your own group, you wouldn't be able to handle it. You would be on a smooth 10. So the disrespect, to me, is just disrespectful. It's no etiquette. It's no boundaries around what people will do. So those of us that have boundaries, respect boundaries, and have that etiquette, or that side class. I'm not 100% class. I don't want to be 100% class. That's why I created Melanin Madam, so I could go back and just be myself. How about that? And learn myself. How about that? Those are the ones that stick out. I don't get it. But it says it in the Bible, and I'll include that scripture down below. So, thank you for joining. We did our toast already. Thank you for sitting with me while I did my makeup really quickly and allowing me to express myself about this topic. If you have any feedback, go ahead and include it. And as always, I accept all feedback, whether it's in the comments or inbox or suggestions, as long as they are respectful. And I can almost handle any question as long as it's respectful. If you wouldn't ask your mama or your best friend, if you wouldn't ask your best friend or your mama, don't ask me. How about that? You don't respect me. I'm just gonna ignore you. Boop. Bye.